Okay, so this is a rough draft of my literacy project. And so I'm just gonna record this once and not look at it and just there it is. Um, I'm gonna be talking about my most frustrating writing experience, which happened my junior year of high school in my research and writing class. It was an MSU college class, but I was taking it through my high school because our school could have like teachers that were qualified to teach the class, teach it in person at my school. Um, and so it was an in-person class. We met like 4 days a week. We got Fridays off usually. Sometimes he was not very good at um, remembering what days we have off and what we do. Um, and basically, the class was we found one thing to research and to write about, and it took us the whole year. Um, yeah, so that's basically about it for what the class is. So for the project, the requirements that we were given at the start was that it had to be a 10-page MLA format paper. And all your information had to come from at least two like physical books that you had. And then we had to like bring them in and show him that we had access to those books. And then it also had to be from five different sources, which included those two books, but I ended up using way more than five sources. And then as well as two databases that we accessed through like the MSU like database file. Um, yeah, so that's basically it for the requirements. And then next, my topic, I was gonna write about the effects of divorce on young children. The only thing that sucked about my topic is that there is really not a lot of research done on it from what I was looking at. There was like maybe like I got the minimum of the two databases and I found one book and one like ebook online that I used for it. So he counted that as half a book, but so I got some points off for that one. Um, and then I don't know, I chose this topic because I have firsthand experience with having divorced parents. So, yeah. Next, uh, how about halfway through the paper, he all of a sudden gave us these like random requirements that he had not talked about before. They weren't on the rubric anywhere. And he was like, now you have to add these to your paper. And it was 15 quotes. And I was like, I hadn't been writing down any quotes. I was just gonna do like parentheticals of like where I got my information from. Um, and then a second thing was that we had to use flashcards to build our paper. So it was like we needed to write each sentence down on a flashcard and then cite it. And I was like, well, that's a lot of work to cite after every single sentence. And then it was like one person outside of our class had to do a peer review. It couldn't be someone who took the class before. It couldn't be a teacher in the school. And so, yeah, I had to find some random person to review my paper. And then the next thing was he went through everybody's projects about probably like 2 weeks before they were due and gave everyone reviews. Um, and he told me that my topic was way too vague because uh, it was too broad of like a spectrum of questions that could come from it, which I didn't think it was very vague. I felt like it was kind of specific. But he was like, you need to hone down on one. I didn't do that, but that's probably why I didn't do too hot on it. But yep. And he also said that none of my quotes were integrated on this 10-page paper after he had just given us like 2 weeks before the rubric, a new rubric saying we needed quotes. So I was kind of still messing around with it, but he was not a fan of the way I put my quotes in my paper. And then he did actually use the word horrid on the comments of Google Docs. He said I had a horrid works cited page because it was very bare and it was not MLA format yet, and he was very mean about it. So basically, my overall thoughts on this project was that it kind of did make me a better writer because it showed me that like even though there are some challenges you go through with writing and having different teachers like every year, um, with like different classes, it made me have to like overcome those things to get the grade that I wanted. And then it also made my years after that class, the work in it seemed way easier because I went through such this long, like dreadful project that the next year I was like in a creative writing class and you just wrote for fun. And I was like, well, this is way easier than what I was doing before. Um, and then also it prepared me for like any future writing intensive classes because it was such like a thorough and detailed thought out paper that like I feel like now I'm way more comfortable with writing for like longer amounts than I was way before. And I felt like that was definitely a good addition to my skill set for writing. Yeah, and that's it.